Welcome. Hello. And welcome to the Miles with Moms podcast. This is a podcast for moms who run by moms who run. Our goal with this podcast is for mother runners everywhere to never have to run alone or feel alone in their mom life struggles or journey to accomplishing big goals, because guess what? Taking time to take care of yourself and to chase big goals as a mom, it's not only okay, it's awesome for you and all the lessons that you are teaching your kids. Okay, as we always say, we may be swearing, we may be saying inappropriate things, so you have been warned. And let's see, this time, oh my gosh, guys, I have the wrong outline open, I think. This time we're talking about we're going to be talking about expanding your family and balancing that with running goals. I think the ladies here have a lot to say on that topic. So first, a quick intro. I am Whitney, and the others here are
I'm Olivia.
I'm Shanna. I'm Trisha.
All right, we got to start over.
No. Take two.
And now we're just going to sit here in silence for the next hour.
Yeah.
All right, Shanna.
Who's next?
I'm Shanna. I'm Trisha.
There we go. I'm sorry, guys. I totally messed up their flow because I opened up the wrong document on my computer. Well, this is true mom life. Like, we're all coming in hot. Like, oh my gosh, okay, where am I? What day is it? Are we here at the right time?
Right.
Trisha forgot her charger. You know, it's just...
Oh, yeah, it is. I literally, I ran in the house, and in 5 minutes, I ate a sandwich, changed, and then, really jacked up the start of this. So we're asking about
No. You did not jack up. Shanna's eating an apple. I meant to grab an apple, and I forgot to grab an apple. And Olivia, I think her kids were eating apple. I don't know.
My kids are over here eating apples. They're being quiet for some reason, which is kind of alarming.
Oh my gosh. Oh, they're not quiet anymore. All is
no.
This now calling me when I told him I. Oh my goodness. Okay.
It's a Monday. Oh no, it's not. It's a Tuesday.
So
don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now that we get it together.
Okay. We've got this.
We're serious. We're talking about it. But before we do, we have started to do our Mother Runner shout out, and today we are going to be shouting out to the styled runner on Instagram, Bailey. Yay!
Woo!
She's great.
Yeah, Bailey is awesome, and she does have really great style. So
she does. Yeah.
I'm like, I would love it if you could just send me clothes and tell me what to wear to get out of the rut. There's so many people who are like, Trisha, I'm like, why don't you just send me meals to eat? And I need help. Okay. So I'm going to read a little bit about Bailey, but Bailey, you are doing awesome, and we're happy to be able to celebrate you. So she says, my run journey has been different than most moms on this platform. I didn't find running after motherhood. It found me long before I was a mom. I was born prematurely. Wow, this is crazy. 2 pounds, 2 ounces. That is so teeny tiny. Oh my goodness.
So tiny.
Growing up on the small side, I was terrible at sports and often not strong enough. Permanent bench warmer. After some convincing, I decided to run cross country and do track and field in high school, finally finding my niche in distance running. My love for the sport took me to a D2 school on scholarship where I was able to continue my career. It was unfortunately riddled with injury due to overtraining and improper nutrition. Feeling unfinished with my run goals from college, my drive and motivation continued with the marathon. It was never daunting, never scary. It was just something I instantly craved. Fast forwarding through my first few marathons, a BQ and a 3:10 PR, I had children in the thick of COVID. I was scared of what motherhood would do to my dream of running sub 3 while also working a full-time job. But with a lot of postpartum therapy, a supportive spouse, and a new running coach, Neely Gracie, I finally broke my PR from 2016, which was a 3:10, to 2024. So this year she ran a 3:01. So she is so
Wow,
close.
that's so awesome.
I've been running, and this is so in line with what we're going to be talking about today. I've been running the most successful decade of my life and have zero intentions of slowing down. So that is
Love
I love
that.
it.
awesome.
So
I love it.
awesome.
I'll just file her again under one of those amazing moms who is able to balance it all. Working, running, being a mom, and being stylish.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
look good while doing it.
It's a big one.
I think that's a big one.
Seriously.
Is not relatable for me.
Impressive than any marathon time to me. Like mom and looking cute, that is like goals.
Absolutely. Anyone that can look like they have their shit together, like,
Yeah.
I envy that.
Yes.
I will say I am proud of us that for pretty much every podcast, we at least look like we've showered.
We at least look like it.
Can we acknowledge the fact that Whitney, you took like the world's fastest shower? Like,
so I have thin hair, so it doesn't take me long. It takes me like 3 minutes to blow dry it.
that is
Oh my
Whoa.
goodness.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, just so everyone that's listening or watching understands this, Whitney sent a text to us at 1:40 p.m. saying, I'm just jumping in the shower, but we're going to meet at 1:50. So in 10 minutes, you showered and blow dried your hair?
she looks great.
That's insane.
Guys, just stop.
No, it's true.
Wow.
First one on here. So
First one on.
Yeah.
I was so
Late,
glad
my
it was
goodness.
150 and 140 because I thought we were meeting at 140 our time, and I was like, oh, this is not going to work. So no, you guys keep the bar high because you always come so fabulous. Your hair always looks so great. So I was like, well, typically when I used to host The Passionate Runner, I always rolled up like with sweaty hair and in my running clothes. And so I was like, I need to up my game this time around. So there you go. Me and my thin hair that takes 3 minutes to blow dry.
well, we're impressed. That's for sure.
Thank you. There's my win for the day. That's it.
It
I'm
is.
done.
Awesome.
Okay, so are you guys ready to go into the topic for the day? Oh, before we do, if you have a mother runner that you want to nominate for us to shed some light on her and give her a huge kudos, you can message us on Instagram at Miles with Moms Podcast. Because we are always looking for amazing, inspiring mamas.
And you can shout yourself out too. I mean,
totally.
we love it doesn't even need to be a humble brag. Go ahead and brag. We love it.
Yeah, I love that. I think that should be one of our missions is just say, you know, I'm proud that I blow dried my hair in 3 minutes.
Heck yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Shout out, right?
Love the confidence.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shanna, the other day you posted something about sort of like your struggle with having another kid and also chasing your running goals and how those two can seemingly conflict with one another. And you got a lot of feedback. And do you mind if I read some of the words that you posted? That kind of lead in. So you posted that when you shared this, your husband said, and this was a year ago, when you were battling so many mixed emotions on what was best for your family, he said, don't worry about the what if, live in the now and let the rest take care of itself, which is beautiful. And then you wrote, balancing personal dreams with family life is messy, vulnerable, and complicated. But I'm learning that pursuing my goals doesn't make me any less of a mom. To every mom feeling torn between the decision to add to your family or chase down a personal goal, you're not alone. It's okay to wrestle with these choices and to feel the weight of both dreams. Let's keep trusting this journey we're being led down, wherever it may take us and whatever timing feels right for each of us. And then you asked, do you battle this fear, placing the growth of your family on hold to pursue a personal goal or on your heart? And you had a lot of people comment. And so we thought that this would be a great discussion for an episode. So here we are.
Yeah. I think this is a good one too, because I feel like all four of us have like a different perspective of this right now. We're in different seasons. You know, some of you have older kids, some of you are done and want more kids, but you're done, you know, and I'm in the, I think I should be done like 4 kids ago, but here I am on my second child, which is so wild to say out loud. But yeah, like I went through 2 phases when I came back into running, and in 2022, my fear when I started getting back into shape and seeing like old times that I hadn't seen since like high school, like we're talking like 10 plus years of change, and I was just like talking to my husband. I'm like, man, what if I get pregnant in the middle of like trying to get back into shape, and I'm seeing these times, and I was like very like distraught about that. I was afraid the whole year of 2023 that I was going to miraculously somehow, some way get pregnant even when I didn't want to. And my husband was like, stop living in the like future tense. And so, that's when he said, live in the now, not the what if. And that has stuck with me now being in 2024, where I'm obviously 2 years out from that point of that concern that I had. And now my wonder is am I holding off my family to pursue my goals? So it's almost flipped. Like my narrative is almost flipped this last 2 years to like, now I'm like, should I be having a kid right now? Is that selfish of me to put this pregnancy off to, chase down? I haven't been like quiet about it, but I really want an OTQ. Like that is my goal. I feel like I have a good shot at it. And I just feel like if I don't go for it, I'm going to live in the what if my whole life. And so, that's in 2028, and we still have a lot of years until then. And that would put my youngest at like 5 at that point. And so for me, that's a massive gap. And so, I thought about it, and I'm just like, wow, is this selfish? Is this not? And I think, that's going to be a personal answer for each and every one of us. And I don't think there is a right or wrong way to grow your family or not grow your family. So I hope that message is made very clear. Nobody should feel guilty listening to this, but that like we can really truly understand and see multiple perspectives on this. And right now, like I'm at the point where I've decided to put that last child on hold. And it's taken me like a lot of like self-reflection to not allow myself to feel guilty over giving myself that shot to chase after my goals. And that doesn't make me a bad mom for trying to, hold my family down of who I have right now in my season of life and appreciate what I do have. And then know that the future it's going to take care of itself if there is one more to add. Sorry, long-winded.
No, I love that
No,
you
I love it.
It's perfect.
I didn't know that you had kind of had resolution to the struggle.
Yeah. I think lately, especially like just talking about it more openly, I think it's kind of helped me to really just like ponder the words that people have shared with me. I've talked to people that have said, some people that I've went through, they shot for the 2020 Olympic trials. They put off their pregnancy, and some of them missed their goal. And hearing that like was like, wow, like, and they still feel okay about it. Like they don't feel the remorse. They don't feel the guilt. In fact, they feel at peace that they did wait and gave themselves a shot, and they got pregnant like the next year. And so just hearing the feedback from people and hearing both sides of it, I think has allowed me to be able to come to my own conclusion and my own peace in terms with it. But it's a hard topic to think because it's such a big thing, like running is just, it is just a hobby, and it's like, it's always going to be there, but it's like, it is so much a part of us too. And I feel like that is sometimes part of our mission in life is to see where we can take ourselves, so.
Refresh my memory. Now, this is something I used to keep track of. The window is open now, right?
I don't know.
For the Olympic trials?
I think it might have one more year. I'm not sure. You might be right.
Okay. And then you want to you don't want to just qualify, you want to be able to race the trials, right?
And that's right. That's like where my second I've gone back and forth. I was like, well, I could qualify, and then, it's not like I'm shooting for the top 3, so I could qualify and then get pregnant and run it pregnant. There was people that did it last year. So, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's, there's a few years ahead, and anything can happen,
It's yeah, I mean, and it can go I mean, you can make the argument either way. It's like, I mean, you're not done once you have another kid, and you can
No.
get back to that fitness level, of course, and especially now that your story is different. Like, you had 10 years where you were basically on a break, and then you
Yes.
came back. And so it's like that fitness comes back faster the second time around.
Mhm.
Um
I
so
think that's a good point, is like the fitness comes back. So it's kind of like, as your friend, I would be like, oh my gosh, she's having another baby. And then you would just go right back into training because there's all this time. So it's like, it seems like this no brainer. Like, why not have the baby now and then just get back in shape and then OTQ, you know? But then at the same time, it's like, you have to think about how much work it's actually taken. Like, yes, the paces are there, but like the past 2 years you've been working and working and working, and then you don't put it on pause when you have a baby, but there is a significant time from, especially like that 28th week of pregnancy until, the 12th week of postpartum, where you're not, that's a significant gap where your body is completely different. And you just also, you can have you've had 5 wonderful pregnancies, but you could have a tougher 6th one, so that's tough to think about too, not knowing what that pregnancy would look like or what that postpartum will look like, because that's something that's completely unpredictable too. You can prepare yourself really well and still run into so many challenges postpartum. So I
Yeah.
think that's a huge part of it to consider.
It's a really good point.
Yeah.
I think I mean, it's just, it's as much as runners and mother runners want to be able to control as much as we can, there's so many unknowns. And so I think your husband's advice that, like, just live in the now, because you really can't plan it like a perfect
Mhm.
situation. You can't be like, okay, as much as so many people try, like, okay, I'm going to have a baby in 2025, and then I'm going to come back and OTQ in 2026, and I'll be good to, like, it just doesn't perfect, like, the best laid plans are that, right?
Yeah.
Right. And the
So
more you plan, the worse that it usually ends up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like I get that from so many people that come to me wanting to work with me during pregnancy and postpartum. And they're like, how do I stay fit during pregnancy? Or I just want to be able to run throughout pregnancy and run like as soon as I can postpartum. But even if you've been able to do that before, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can continue to do it through another pregnancy. There's so many
Mhm.
variables and so much that's out of our control when so many of us are such control freaks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard.
I
But
mean, as much as, like, I don't know, I struggle with this, like, just taking it as it comes and taking
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
day by day. And I bet, Shanna, with 6 kids, like, you are really good at that, because you have to, because your life
Yeah.
is probably pretty insane. Like, I know you guys are, it
forced.
seems like you have everything, like,
Forced. Yeah.
very planned, but yeah, it's like you want to do everything you can to make it happen and plan everything you can, but you just don't know. And, like, yes, you could be one of those lucky people that you see on Instagram that, like, bounces back quickly, but I think I don't know, I'm always a big proponent of managing expectations as
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
as you can.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, like, just because you can bounce back, it's not necessarily good to bounce back like that. Like, that's one thing I really just, like, I've been appreciative that I didn't really run so many of those years in my previous pregnancies, because I just see so many people that are dealing with the aftermath now, like years
Mhm.
after, like, just having that, they're rushing back in, and now their kid is 3 and they're having like hip pains, and now, all this random, like, just pelvic floor issues. And I think that's, for me, it's like longevity is definitely the goal for me. Like, I want to be like you, Whitney, where I'm running into my 40s and I'm still hopeful for big things ahead. Like, and so, like, I think, yeah, I struggle with that, but I love that, like, Olivia, you brought up the point that, like, it isn't the doom all, when you get pregnant. I think I have to always, like, tell myself that every day, because I feel like my mom was so invested in us as children, like having us and invested in our sports, and just, like, never put herself first ever. And so when I see that example growing up, I always think, like, that's going to be me, like, I'm going
Mm,
to lose myself again in that process of having another child, because that's all I know, is to just pour into my kids and not myself. And so it's like a constant, like, reminding myself, like, it's okay to have both. And when you bring another child, you figure it out, you adjust and you get used to that next addition, but it's not the end all be all. You're going to find yourself again.
That's such a good point. You do find yourself. I think it's so hard sometimes too when you've trained and you're like in the best shape of your life and then you want to, or I feel like in between my kids, I felt like I was the most physically confident. Like I felt like I looked the best that I'd looked in a really long time. Like I felt very comfortable in my own skin. And then I had a great relationship with food and I had this baby. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. And so the idea of having another baby was just a little bit of a struggle, like on just the physical aspect of it, because I had just barely gotten my groove back with running, because like I mentioned, it was really hard for me to come back to running. And so the idea of having another baby, but then I think about like how much we wanted her, like it was and like just those moments, they're so intimate between yourself of like when you first take that first pregnancy test and stuff, and like what your true feelings are about the whole situation in that moment, right? Like that's your own very private moment and stuff. And so like she was so wanted, and like I would have given up running for the rest of my life just to have her, so like that's really what it comes down to. And I think it's hard sometimes though to reconcile with like, okay, say you're training for like an Ironman or something and then you find out you're pregnant, and it's like it just seems like, how is this possible? But like the nice thing about the physical aspect of running, biking, swimming, anything like that is like you can do that into your later years. Whereas with women, as women, we have a time clock on us. With pregnancies will get harder as you get older. Like it is something that you kind of have to seize the moment in.
That's a great
So
point. Mhm.
that's a huge part of it, is that you just kind of have to embrace the season you're in. And like with anything, like your first time that you head out the door with your first baby and then you have two kids and like you figure it out. It's hard, it's confusing, like which baby do I get out of the car seat first, that type of situation, but you figure it out, right? Like it's kind of like that. You figure out what you're physically capable of while you're pregnant and dealing with, if you have a toddler or older kids, like you have to make it all work. And that's what we're best at as moms, is we are dealt a set of cards and we figure out what to do with them.
Yeah, I feel like we look at like you can, as you mentioned, like you can look at all the information that you have, like, okay, how old am I? How much like time do I have left? Okay, there are other races, like
Yeah.
I am
Yes,
very
yeah.
able to qualify for the next trials or next, BQ
Mhm.
the next time, like whatever your goal is, like you can gather that information. But also, again, it's like so much of it is just up to fate.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
you can be in the bet, and it's you would be taking a step back from training for a good thing. And so, it's like you can be in the best shape of your life and then you drop like a table on your toe and then you're out for
Mhm.
3 months. You know
True.
what I mean? Like we're
Yeah,
So
always kind
true,
of
yeah.
vulnerable to like life happening. I mean, so
Mhm.
it's at least it's
exactly.
like not at least, but at most, or I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's a good thing. It's a good thing,
Yes,
and it doesn't
yeah.
mean that you're done at by any means.
Mhm.
So I mean, like for me, I never really struggled with that decision because I was not I didn't have these big goals before I had kids. Like I was in my
Mhm.
own little with my Timex watch. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just, oh, I'll go run a race and see how it goes. Like I didn't know what I
Mhm.
was doing. So I didn't have any goals. And by the time I had my second, I was already 35 and neither one of them slept. I feel like there's a theme in
Hard.
the podcast. I'm always like, I did not get
Yeah.
sleep. So that to me just kind of made the decision. And then at 37 was when I started dreaming big and thinking of fast marathons, and 37, 38. So I don't know. I mean, if you're struggling with that, I feel like that's sort of a lesson right there. There's so many
Mhm.
women who are in their late 30s who are running faster than ever, or even in their
Mhm.
40s now. So
I love that. It's so true.
Yeah, you look
what
at
about
some of the faster American women's now, like Kira D'Amato, Sarah Hall. I mean, they're all
Mhm.
40?
40, if not
Right.
approaching 40, and they're
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
kicking some serious ass. So, and Christiana, how old are you?
I'm 30. I turned 32 like a couple weeks.
Oh yeah.
You're
Yeah.
so
much
young.
fun. Right.
He was just
So
a
much fun.
baby.
Just a baby.
Well, what
Just
about
a
you,
baby.
Trisha? Like you, I mean,
Yeah.
you have 3, and it sounds like your
Yeah.
third one was kind of, your little girl was sort of a surprise. Am I wrong?
No. She was definitely wanted.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I had my first 2. They were just under 3 years apart. It took me a long time to actually want a second because I had such a hard time after my first. Mentally, he was such a hard baby, and I dealt with postpartum depression that wasn't diagnosed until probably a year later. But the
Mhm.
thought of going back to that was just so daunting. So,
Yeah.
but then when I had her, she was such a good baby, and I still had in the back of my head that our family just didn't feel complete. I grew up in a family. I'm one of 7. I love the big family, and Shanna, I know you can relate to that. It's just so
Yeah.
special and so much fun. And one of my friends had said to me, if you can sit at your at Christmas and look around and feel like everything is complete, then right? And I remember sitting Christmas morning looking around at my 2 kids and just feeling like somebody's missing.
Aww.
I just felt like, and so then went for the third, and I'm so glad that we did it. And I was 37 when I was pregnant with her, and I can honestly tell you it was probably the best I felt out of my 3 pregnancies.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, so when people tell you you're too old, you can't put a number on it. Like, sure, things might be more difficult in getting pregnant, and risks for things go up a little bit. But I remember my OBGYN saying to me, you are in a better spot being pregnant at 37 than some of 20-year-olds are coming in here that have diabetes and high blood pressure. Like, as active, healthy women, it's not the same. You can't really use age as a factor. So
That is true. I mean, the fact that we're runners definitely, it helps in many, many facets.
Right. Yes.
Do any of you guys get like a little shot of pride when you are at the doctor's and they take your pulse and they're like, "Oh, are you a runner?"
Always.
Anybody else? Like,
Always. Oh yeah. Are you dead?
Yeah.
Right?
Or they repeat it like 3 times because they're like, there's no way this is right. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So when my son came, he was a preemie, and they came in and they were going to shoot me with, I was out of it. They had me on all those meds to like try to keep him in that, like with flu-like symptoms. And I was like hallucinating, and it was rough. Anyways, and they came, I don't know what they were going to shoot. Trisha, you may know. It's like basically like ephedrine, because they were like, oh, her heart rate is really, really low. And Jake, it's like 4 a.m. It's like, Jake's like, no, she's a runner. Like, the time family is,
oh my
stop
gosh.
giving her stuff.
Oh my gosh. But on the flip side of it, when you know that you're done with kids, you absolutely know. And I didn't really, right? And I don't think I got there like even after my third, because I love the baby stage, like when they're just so squishy and cuddly.
Yeah.
It's the best. And so after having her, I was like, I want more. But it didn't happen. Thank goodness. Just add to a lot of issues. But I would say after the first year, I was like absolutely done. Like, no question. Another one would absolutely break me in half, like mentally.
I think because my 2 kids are so spirited that like after Cal, I was like, this is all I have.
That's exactly the word I use for my daughter. I'm like, she's very spirited.
So much.
There's nobody in our household except for our 15-year-old dog who's laid back. We're all a lot. We're all extra.
Yeah. That's too. I was younger though. I don't know, maybe.
You think?
And if I had like
Yeah.
a husband like yours sounds like, I'd probably
Yeah,
be more.
I think honestly that makes the biggest difference. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that like we like that should be talked about on here too, because I have friends that don't have that spousal support. Like, and you know, on both sides, I've heard husbands that want more children and their wives don't. Like, I have a brother that's like that. He wants 7 kids if he could have, and his wife is like, I'm done at 2. You know.
Yeah.
And then I know people that you know they don't have the spousal support, and so for them, it puts a wedge in their marriage. It puts a wedge in their relationship, and I think it's so much there's so much more that goes into like build like growing your family that like people don't talk about, which what's best for your marriage, what's best for your relationship with your spouse. It should be a mutual, you know, agreement, and that's a hard decision to come to because sometimes you don't ever come to that agreement. Like one spouse needs more kids, the other doesn't, and you have to ultimately land with no more kids because what are you gonna do, surprise them? Like, you know,
I know some people that have done that
Oh my goodness,
Same.
seriously?
I actually
In
yeah.
real life?
in real life.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, it's kind of
I need to
crazy.
get out more, I think.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at is I would like more kids and or I'd like one more. I don't like I for me my daughter, she has middle child syndrome written all over her. But it's just something that I think is my husband and I, because we have such a significant age gap, it's this thing that we just didn't know we would run into. So there's that part of it. We have the age gap. And then also I am alone so much. Like
Yeah.
I'm alone all the time. It's crazy. I mean, I've spent like 7, 8 days now by myself. And I did go down and visit my in-laws and stuff like that. But like I have to drive 7 hours to go find help. So it's,
They're
you know,
7 hours away. You did that.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot, you know, and they're there to help, which is wonderful. But at the same time, like, you know, my kids, they're a lot. They are spirited indeed, and so it's a lot for anybody. You know, and I don't want to be like, here, watch the kids. You know, I've got to go, and so I basically go out for my runs, and then I'm back to caring for them. And so I think that's a big part of it where I have to think like, yes, I would love another child, but then it would be me still with all 3 kids all the time by myself, because bringing another child into the world wouldn't bring my husband home from work more often or anything like that. So that's where we landed. But yeah, it was unfortunate. I took a plane ride with just my daughter when she was 18 months old, and she had everybody on the plane crying. It was mostly just her and I, but yeah, I was like, this is so bad. And so I called my husband and I was like, you are getting snipped. We're never doing this again. And yeah, he made the appointment that day because he was like, oh yeah, let's go. And I was more like, I can't believe that you know, we're doing this. And so you know, but we had so many discussions about it. And at the end of the day, I think a big reason that I continue to add on more and more goals for myself within running is it's filling a very large void for me. And it makes me super sad to think about, because I know that like I know how much I could love another baby. And you know, I love when people are like, oh, adopt and this and that, and I'm like, that's not what it is. Like, I am a great pregnant person. Everybody loves when I'm pregnant. I'm super happy and I eat a lot. I'm like,
I love being pregnant
yeah.
too, because you can like eat whatever you want, take
Yes.
naps, and like nobody ever questions you. Like, oh, you're so
Yes.
lazy, you're taking a nap.
Yeah, exactly.
Growing a human, it's a lot of work.
Exactly. And yeah, I loved being pregnant. So it's never that. It's that my husband, I mean, we talk about his retirement at this point, you know, and I'm still in my early 30s. So, I mean, he's not 60, he's 45. So it's, you know, but his retirement from his current career. And so, you know, that's the point in life that he's at, where I'm more in like the, you know, all of my friends. What are you laughing at?
Sugar daddy.
I know.
Sugar
That's
daddy.
how I made it sound.
Oh, cradle robber? I can't. Is that the same for a guy, or is that a like girl? Or is that a cougar? I can't remember.
I think it is.
I think
Cradle
women
robber?
are cougars and then men are cradle robbers. I always thought it was rockers, and so I just until you just said robbers, yeah, I just said it out loud. I was like, oh, cradle robbers makes a lot more sense than cradle rocker.
Well, cradle rocker, that sounds really twisted.
No, it does. Now that I'm
Wait.
thinking about it, I've never
Isn't
said
that
the
like a
term.
horror movie? Is that the hand that rocks the cradle? It's a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, yeah, back to your sugar daddy. Go
I'm gonna
on.
put my camera on off. I have a screaming child that needs to be wiped. So
Oh, okay.
give me a
Yeah, it's
She's
real
the
life.
professional butt wiper. Go do your
Yeah.
thing.
She's on the clock.
I was gonna say the same thing. She's on the clock.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
So leave it.
So you're, I guess, so when you say it's filling a void, because that's like the running, it's your me time, and it's I am something outside of being a professional butt wiper.
Yeah, essentially. And I think because it's almost like once they go to school, I'm very well aware the kids are only going to need me more. Like I feel very aware of that. It's just really hard to, when they're babies and they need you every single second of every single day, and especially like this age and stuff, and that we're going to, not be in that phase one day where they're at school all day and things like that. And it's like I feel like I'm putting in my time now so that I can continue to dream of bigger and bigger goals for myself, because I won't be in this like mom phase as much anymore. Like that, like it's something so special when you have the littles, and you're like fully
Mhm.
in it and you don't really think about much else. But once they're in school, like I'll have, I'll be able to kind of yeah, I know. I'll be able to kind of reclaim more of my identity. And so I feel like I fill the need for like almost that need for another baby with more goals for myself in a way. Like I feel like I'm just outrunning it all. And so yeah, I don't know. I guess it's hard to explain like where that comes from, but that's a big part of it, honestly. I was like, now that I'm not having more babies, I might as well work harder on this running thing that I'm doing. Sorry, I'm getting more and more distracted because she's bringing me more items.
Yeah, if you're not watching, which you probably aren't, she's putting wings on her daughter.
Yes.
And
Just put
what is
some
that? Santa
fairy
a
wings,
Santa-
and now
a-
we've got
oh.
Santa bows. Yeah,
That's great.
She's a Christmas fairy.
she is.
Um,
Oh, look at here you go.
That is a
Well,
hard phase to be in, Olivia. I mean,
It is.
like I've told the first year that I have not been in that phase in 5 years, I guess. I
Wow.
went from working
Yeah.
and being home during the pandemic. And when you're with your kids 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without help, because I was very much the same, it's all consuming mentally, physically. It's so difficult. And I feel like running just becomes something that's you cherish so much more because
Mhm.
it's like the only time. And even that, I'm saying loosely because I know,
Yeah.
like you're on the treadmill, chucking
Yeah.
Yeah.
the stroller, like so. Then once you get that time when they go to school, it is like, oh, it's you kind of get a breather and remember who you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Olivia, wasn't you that said you hated stroller running?
No, I mean,
Well, I don't know who I talked to. I talked to somebody
Mm.
who was like, I hate
probably
stroller
me.
running, and I didn't hate it. But it would like if I
Might
could
have
make
been you.
it so that I wasn't stroller running, I would, because that was like the only time where somebody didn't need me or I wasn't managing big emotions or so.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I was very protective of that me time,
Yeah.
even though it was not. It's not. I mean, are we ever fully without worry? I mean, it's not like you're out the
Mm-mm.
door and you're just completely zoned out and you feel like you're not a mom during that time. Like you're still thinking about kid stuff or worried about, something going wrong or them calling
Mhm.
or, or your partner or whoever's watching them calling with a problem. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
I just,
Yeah.
that time is hard. Like every stage is different. And so, yeah, it is true. Like when you have more time to yourself when your kids are older. I will say that the school day goes by very fast. Yeah,
Mhm.
like you
I
get,
believe
like
that.
I thought I'm like, oh my God, 7 hours? Are you kidding? But it flies by, honestly. But you get more time to yourself. But yeah, like the problems the emotional needs are different.
Mhm.
And it's
Big kids, big
bigger.
problems.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
just go ahead and say I am not looking forward to Eleanor starting middle school next
Oh.
year.
Oh boy.
Just,
Ooh.
oh
So
gosh.
crazy.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
terrifying.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Any of the
teenage.
listeners who have anything, I've yet to hear one person say something good about middle school. So if anybody
No, me neither.
can buck the trends,
Help
please
redeem her
write us.
mind.
Right?
What'd you say?
I said help redeem her on that subject.
Yeah.
There was something that came to my mind too on this topic. I don't know if it's so much related or not, but I was thinking about like sometimes I feel like we could also use our kids or pregnancies as a crutch because we are facing uncomfortable things. Again, this is something like I hope my mom doesn't listen to this because I love her and I like there's no woman on this earth that I admire more, especially not being a mom to 6 kids. But I noticed like I always think I'm like, why didn't she go to college? Because she's so smart. Like she would just read all this. She knows so much about everything. It's crazy. But it's because she reads a lot. And I always think I'm like, she would make an amazing nurse. Like she is just so caring, so loving, and she's so smart. But she never went to college. And my dad is always like, go to college, like just go to college. And I wonder sometimes if we could use our kids sometimes or the pregnancies or things like that as sometimes a crutch because our goals for ourselves are so big that they're terrifying. I know I personally have went through that. Like I didn't want to start school for a while because I was like a C student in high school. Like I just didn't pay attention. And so when I got into like college and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, like I actually like have, brains up there. And anyways, but I used my kids for so long. I'm like, oh, I can't go to school until my kids are way older. Like there's just no time. There's no way. And I'd kind of use them as excuses every now and then. And so now I think that's a part of why I'm like, do I feel like I really have one more kid right now? Or am I afraid because my goal is so big that I'm afraid I'm going to fail if I shoot for it? And so I'm going to use my pregnancy as a crutch to give me more time to face that, So I think sometimes too, like that could be a topic under this is that like, is having another baby really what you feel like you should do? Or is it kind of a crutch for yourself so that you don't have to do something scary or hard with your personal goals? I don't know.
Such a
I
good
think
point.
that's such a good point.
Right.
That's really
I-
interesting.
yeah.
I've never thought about it that way, but I think that that's certainly true. And you kind of get caught, like if that's what you. Oh, here, Cal wants to say hi.
Oh, he's so
Mom,
cute.
Hi, Cal.
Hey, Cal. Cal,
You
you're like
can't-
the
you're all
coolest
saying
kid.
hi.
Yeah.
You want a chain?
I want his
Oh, he's
autograph.
got another chain
I
on.
know too.
Mom, these are both the same.
I love
Who
it.
Okay,
Who
give me a
is
kiss. I'll
that
see you in a couple
kid?
minutes. Who's that kid?
Him.
Cool cow.
That's Whitney's.
Cal.
He's 7.
Cal?
Like I
Yeah.
think if you use that as not even as your excuse, but as your reason for a very long time, then it just becomes kind of ingrained. Like
Yeah.
I really don't. I joke that I need to get out more, but I really don't get out more, but it that much because it's like I'm so used to, well, like I can't because my kids need me and I'm the only one that knows how to deal with these situations. But now it's like they're good. Like they don't need me as much, but it's still just like those neural pathways are cut that's just how it is. And so then the big scary goals is still remain big scary goals instead of looking at it and being like, no, actually I could kind of like push the boundaries a little bit. And I think too, obviously with every goal, like you need to break it apart. Like you can't eat the elephant in one bite, you got to piecemeal it. So maybe you don't go back to school. Like I'm going to go get my nursing degree. It's like,
Yeah.
let me try a class and see how that works, So that is a saying. I didn't make that up.
No.
Even if you did, I love it.
Going off the charts here. The other day I was thinking, I would love to put a book together of all the sayings that you come up with, Whitney. You have the best.
Me?
You.
Yes.
They literally
Eat elephant.
us. Like every clip of you, Whitney, is like, I'm like, that's so good. We need to highlight that
Mhm.
in the next reel.
Oh,
You guys just made my week.
You
Thank you. Now I'm like, I don't know what I said. I mean, nothing's as good as fire crotch or
Colon blow is definitely up on the
Colon
top.
blow is definitely.
Colon blow is good.
Get a sweater with that. I think that would sell so big.
I think I don't know. I'm wondering if we turned off a lot of listeners on that one. They're like, I cannot handle that imagery. It's too much. It's just-
So like you said, we're kind of weeding out the people that are
Right.
not people.
exactly.
Anyway.
Anyway. All right. So it sounds like we're all kind of done for now.
Yeah.
So Shanna is still, with kids, not the podcast. All right, that's it. Goodbye.
I was like, wow, that's new. Yeah. I would like to clarify.
This abrupt ending. Just want to be different,
I would like to clarify really quickly because we went into sugar daddy somehow.
Where do I find one?
Well, I tried to find a wife on my stories the other day, so I was like, men aren't working. I need a wife. I need someone as good as me.
There's a lot to be said for that.
I know.
That's how organized life would be.
I know, seriously. Oh, if I had a partner that just mirrored what I did, that'd be so great. I'm just kidding. We'd watch a lot of Law and Order, that's for sure.
Really? You watch a lot. You and my mom should hang out. I think that's her favorite show too. She's 73, Olivia.
That's my kind of lady. Honestly,
the
older the better. Oh my god! And my husband. I'm sorry. My husband listens to this. He's gonna be so sad. No. I would just like
to clear up the sugar daddy.
I know.
Yes, sugar daddy, taking it back.
No, he would.
Oh my gosh!
Like he does not look in his 40s. Like I literally, when you told me that, I was like, "There's no way."
I know.
He has a very young personality too. Like, I mean, not even 40s isn't old, anyways. I hate that people think 40s.
Trish and I are in her 40s, guys. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah.
40s the new 30.
Yeah.
I agree, honestly. And it's just, when I mentioned his age, it's mostly because can you give me 1 second? Oh, you typed in lots of different letters there. When I mentioned his age, it's because
like this kind of pitch.
That's parenting wrapped up. When you talk on the phone, they just so we're just, it's like, it's hard because we had to compromise, and I see his side of it. And so of course we had lengthy, long conversations. It wasn't just like, oh, we're done having kids. That's what he said. It was like, I see where it's coming from, and how I would have been, I would be put in a position where I would be with the kids all the time. And I'm very content with our family, of course. And honestly, I don't see my daughter calming down at all. I think this is only practice for what the teenage years look like. So I just wanted to clarify that it's not just like, oh, he's my sugar daddy and said no.
Wait, so are you done? Are you making a decision? You're okay.
Yeah, it would have to be a miracle at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah. Shanna.
You want to surrogate for me?
Emma Coburn did that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So sweet. So wonderful.
Yeah. That gave me chills reading her poem.
Yeah.
Dude, that was a beautiful post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't scroll very much, so I just saw it, but I didn't get the backstory. Like, was this a surprise? Did we know that she was going to do this?
No.
Did she do a surrogate? I'm assuming it's because of this whole topic that we're talking about. Like, she didn't want to deal with the pregnancy and postpartum and getting out of racing, or could she not have children? And that's why. Did she share?
I don't think so.
She didn't. I tried to find some info on it too, just because I was curious if it was because she's dealt with so many injuries, it seems like, and she comes back so strong every time. And so I wonder if it was a decision that they made maybe while she had been injured previously and to not lose time on her career. But yeah, it was definitely a surprise. I remember because it was like she made a post of like looking forward to the next season of life, and then it was the next one. It was such a sweet post. It's so emotional. I love when people post videos like of them meeting like their adoptive child or something like that. It's just so, because it's like you mentally can prepare for it, but you are not like, as like when we're pregnant, we're constantly every day thinking about what it's going to be like, and we're communicating with our babies and all this stuff. And so to just meet them earthside is like what a different experience it is. And I don't know. Well, you can show me a picture of a newborn and I'll start crying.
See,
And, like
there's
it could be
a
any.
difference. My algorithm in Instagram is mostly golden retrievers. So
Oh,
I like that. How do we get there?
Yeah.
Golden retrievers, golden retrievers. I'm just gonna type those.
Yeah.
oh, the good old
like I'll
algorithm.
share the running stuff to my stories, but then the golden retrievers are who I share with like all my family and friends. Just like these puppies are so cute and mischievous. Okay, so do we want to do a question or a ventilator?
I
Anybody
feel
want a
like I need to
ventilator?
issue an apology to my husband.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
no, I don't think anybody like who has been listening to the podcast has gotten that like real impression. We
I
kid
know.
because we love, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's okay.
I have a ventilator on your behalf, Olivia.
Ooh, this is
Ooh.
good, juicy.
That guy that posted on Shanna's post about your tattoos.
I know. He was really
What?
brave in my DMs too. Yeah.
Wow,
What?
I need to scroll
Mhm.
more. What happened?
Ooh,
Oh.
I commented.
Yeah, you did. It was
Yeah.
like it was on Shanna's reel about like our husbands can trust us 99% of the time until we say that we're like on our way or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, no way someone's going to marry a female with tattoos.
Oh no.
And then but he got real brave. He was like I wasn't calling in my DMs. I wasn't calling you ugly. I was just saying it's like when a man is obese, you wouldn't want to marry them. But now I am also calling you ugly. Okay.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, well, I feel like I'm more attractive than any girl you'll find with that attitude. So
100%.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Wow.
zinger.
yeah. Yeah, and then he said a few other things, and I started typing like a few, and then I was like, why am I engaging with this? Block.
Yeah, don't waste
So-
your time. Good.
Yeah, no. Sometimes I'll
Yeah.
type things out because then I'm like, ooh, it makes me feel better, but I never actually hit send. I do that with like political things sometimes too. I'll never like actually hit send. I'll just like type it out, and then I'm like, I will never get into beef with anyone.
Right. Delete.
I do
Yeah.
that sometimes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like an emotional post because I do like
Yeah.
my weekly reviews on that, and sometimes I'm like, let's just type it out, but it's a little too raw, so let's just keep it to
Oh,
yourself,
yeah.
Whitney. Sometimes you don't have to have all of your insides on the outside. But that makes me sad. I'm sorry that happened.
Oh, it's
It's-
okay. Things.
I'm
I
glad that
appreciate
Trisha
it.
she flexed on him.
Yeah.
I was
I
all
know.
fired up.
I know. Well, because nobody comments on males with tattoos. So
No.
why are you commenting on a female? Yeah.
Tattoos look so sick on you. Like I think
I know.
I
So
literally
badass.
I'm like, wear those sleeves loud and proud. Like wear that sports bra so people can see those sleeves. Like
Exactly.
awesome. Like just
And
Yeah.
I also feel like we should have mentioned in our safety episode, like it's probably a very good, attacker deterrent. Like nobody's gonna mess with her because look at
yeah,
her arms,
exactly.
like,
or they're just more
Yeah.
attracted to her.
It definitely makes me want more tattoos.
I know.
Behind.
that
Oh
was
my
a good
gosh.
ventilator. Anybody else?
I have a lot to vent about, but we'll keep it for off the air.
You're one, Trisha. You've been kind of quiet on this episode.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, she's only said one bad word too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
And it wasn't even that bad. I feel it was shit, which I think they said. My
right.
barometer is always like, would they say it on the Golden Girls? And I don't know, like hell and damn they did. Shit, I'm not sure. So let's hear one at least.
At least one. Okay, I'll keep it somewhat controlled. So, okay, Christmas. Can I vent about Christmas?
Yes.
Sure.
I just can't do it.
Scrooge.
Like this. Okay, I love Christmas, I really do, but I have a lot of other stuff going on in my life this year that's kind of overshadowing and just it's a lot of
Yeah.
stress, to be honest. And so like this weekend, I took out a bin of Christmas decorations and I looked at it and I was like, I can't do it. And I shoved it back in the closet. But it's like there's just so much going on. Like I feel like every year it's like and I'm going through a divorce right now, and so I feel like there's just a lot of pressure
Oh,
to
Mhm.
even without that, there's a lot of pressure to make it like this
Yeah.
magical Norman Rockwell moment.
right,
So
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yep. And like the internet makes you feel like you need to be super mom with Elf on the Shelf doing crazy things every
Yes,
2 seconds. And if you don't have the best advent calendar and spend $100 on just the calendar part alone and then gift them every single day, like then it means you're a bad mom. That's
exactly.
what the internet makes you feel like. And it's like sometimes it's okay to just put up the tree and that's it. That's Christmas cheer right there. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
don't feel like you have to do it right now. No one says that you
No.
have to do it before Thanksgiving. Like you're
Yeah,
fine.
thanks.
You're fine.
Because just thinking about like yeah, and I think that's making me feel kind of guilty is like seeing
Mhm.
all these moms that are like done with their shopping and everything's decorated and they're
Yeah.
planning out like the Polar Express like holy
Yeah.
shit, like give me a
I
break here.
know.
I just
I know.
right.
that's
I
Oh.
think
I
November,
got
what the
Tess's
freak?
I got Tess's journal, the Run
Oh yeah.
My Life journal,
Mhm.
and it made me realize like how unintentional I am with my life. I'm like, I messaged her. I was like, I just feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants every day. And so these moms who like are like they plan like the fact that they even plan ahead or plan these like
Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like kudos to you. Like it's amazing. And so with the
Yeah.
journal, I mean, I'm on day 3, and so I'm doing good with my intentions for the day. But yeah, I mean, it's so hard. It's just there's always so much going on that like
Yeah.
how do you even
Mhm.
create space to do? I don't know. It's
Yeah.
I
If you
know.
can do
I
it, you're amazing. Let
Yeah,
us
I
know
think
how.
honestly, for you, especially because you're in a transitional year, it's like do what you can while when you feel like you can do it, and like managing expectations, right? And then like it will be truly a new way for you to start a different Christmas tradition, right? Like even if it's the
That's true.
smallest little thing, and
Yeah.
like thank God for Walmart having like Christmas cookie boxes with like the sprinkles already in them, and then you
Yes.
just get it all out, and they think you're so awesome for bringing that out, and
Seriously,
I
it's like
rely
the
on that a
small
lot.
stuff. It's like
Yeah,
you don't need to go on like a reindeer pulling a sled ride for it to be
yeah,
special. Like they're going to remember, like,
Right.
oh, I cuddled up with mom and watched
Mhm.
a movie. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
They do.
Right.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff. And like when you think back on your childhood, that's probably the type of things that come to mind too. It's not like these grand gestures that your parents
hmm
I don't even know if my parents
Right.
ever made any. And
Oh
if they did,
God.
I'm
I mean,
sorry guys, I don't remember.
no. Yeah, with 7 of us, that wasn't happening.
No.
No.
Yeah, it was like the more like simple thing, which is
Yeah.
so true. Yeah, I need to stop getting caught up in all of the hustle and bustle.
It's the whole
yeah,
comparison trap,
Yeah.
which by the
I
way
yes,
is our
know.
most popular episode. And I think it's
Yeah.
just because it
Uh,
hits you in the face everywhere you go.
it really
that's so
does.
true.
Yeah.
Pinterest doesn't help with that either.
No,
No.
no,
What
No.
no.
doesn't?
Not at all.
Well,
Oh,
unrealistic
Pinterest.
expectations.
Oh,
Yeah. So unrealistic. But yeah, I don't
yeah.
think I have anything really inappropriate to share today,
No, that
unfortunately.
was good. I
Sorry.
feel you. I
Oh,
feel you on that.
Anybody else? We'll see if something comes to mind.
What about you,
I mean,
Whitney?
the only one I have is super minor, and it was just it was a text with our dog trainer. So we have this. She just turned a year, golden retriever puppy, and she's the cutest thing ever, like the cutest thing ever. But she's very wild, and when the family gets amped up, she gets amped up, and she just starts like biting everybody, and
Oh.
it's chaos. So, anyways, last night. So she's in this new training program and she goes 3 days a week. And last night, Eleanor was doing her math homework and it was very confusing and she didn't know how to do it. And I don't know how to do it. And I don't know the new math. where there's like 10,000 steps. And so I'm trying to do it with her, and she's getting frustrated. And then Cal starts like yelling at her because she's yelling, and then everybody starts yelling. So then the dog starts like jumping and attacking. And so I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity to practice like the calming exercise that like she's supposed to learn how to self-regulate, just like her children. Puppies are supposed to learn how to do that. So I put her little special leash on, and I step on the leash, and I'm trying to do this math homework with Eleanor, which is honestly making me feel like an idiot, because I'm like, I don't know how to do this, and you're in 5th grade, and I'm spiraling. I'm like, oh my gosh, and she's going to middle school, and I can't do 5th grade math. What's going to happen? And so I'm stepping on the leash, and then she chews the leash, and she breaks it. And so I text them this morning, and I'm just like, hey, heads up, Nikki chewed the leash, and she scolds me. She's like, well, that's a choking hazard. You shouldn't have let her do that. I was like, listen, lady.
Oh, no.
Obviously, I didn't let her do it. I was trying to calm her down while doing homework with my daughter, while everybody else is like, I mean, like, and she's like, and that'll be an extra $15, which I'm like, seriously?
Gosh.
The training itself is like $3,000 or $4,000, and
Oh
you're
my
gonna nickel and
gosh.
dime me on a $15 leash. So that's my ventilator for
Holy
the
crap.
day. It just like, I don't know.
Wow.
People who don't have kids, I'm like, oh, gee, thank you. I shouldn't have let her
Oh
chew
my
the leash.
goodness.
Thanks for explaining that to me.
Yeah, I know.
Dog,
Wow.
well, I will say sometimes dog people that don't have kids, they will one of my cousins, I get scolded from her all the time about things. So, but you got a scolding and a Venmo request. Like, that's wild. I didn't vent about that too.
Oh, 100%.
And to be
Wow.
clear, our 2 dogs are also like our children. In my mind, we have 4
Mhm.
children. So it is not like they do not get attention. I didn't know what she was doing. It was just my focus was on the fire, which was Eleanor at the moment, Like,
Yes. Oh my goodness.
anyway,
Wow.
that's my little ventilator. Thank you. That instead of the mansplaining, which I vented about a few episodes ago, I don't even know. It's like dog trainer explaining. Like, I don't know. Anyways, people who don't have kids, they just don't get it.
Nope.
People
true.
who don't
That's
run
actually
don't
true.
get it. So we just need to stay in our mother runner sphere,
Our little pod.
Absolutely.
our little
Yes.
pod of happiness.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have? Do you have one anymore?
I don't. I think I've put my foot in my mouth enough during this episode.
You did not.
No, I'm
You
just
did
kidding.
not.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I feel like if anybody hears my voice, they're like, "Oh God, just land the plane, Olivia." So what is she? Oh, one of her kids is coming. She's gonna lose her train of thought. Oh boy, here. Oh, there it goes. Bye. That's literally how my brain works. It's so sad.
I love it, and I look forward to the upcoming episode that is an Olivia monologue. It's coming.
Oh,
coming.
yes.
It's going to be a holiday special.
It-
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
we're
boy.
going to move on to our review. We got a couple of really sweet reviews, so keep them coming, guys, because they really do just make our weeks for sure.
Mhm.
I don't want to speak for you guys, but I'm assuming.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so this is entitled Favorite Running Podcast. As a mom of twin toddlers, a marathon runner, and a hobby jogger. Wait, you can't be a marathon runner and a hobby jogger.
Yeah.
By the way. Just going to call you out on that. I can always relate to at least one of the moms on this podcast. They give real and raw perspectives on running and momming. This is my favorite podcast to listen to on my runs, and I look forward to a new episode every week. So thank you, DB Health Wellness.
Thank you.
Hi.
Aw.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
And keep them coming. And we're going to do a fun giveaway coming up, I think, for those who do a review. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Anything else you guys want to say before we stop our recording?
I think so. We
No.
got through one whole episode without like choking laughing. So
Did we?
I feel like, yeah, my kids will play a game that's like try not to laugh. Maybe we should do that for one of our episodes
Right.
too.
that would be pretty good.
You can get voted
Oh my
off the
gosh.
podcast. All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of the day.
Yes,
And,
you too.
everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.